Hey everyone, welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. Here is the last layout I filmed at the retreat I was at, and this sheet of paper is from Otterly Adorable. This is my least favorite sheet, but it goes so well with these pictures from Glass Beach. You may have heard of Glass Beach, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a few minutes. So how do you make really busy and even somewhat ugly? To me, this paper is a little bit ugly. How do you make these papers work in a layout? Well, I'm going to show you that hopefully on this video. I have created this layout format before. It's similar to a grid, but the pictures just go across the page from one side to the other. So I'm taking some papers and matted all these photos, and I'm just trying to arrange them so that I have the mats in different, like the different colored mats in different places, and make sure I break up similar pictures so that they're apart from one another. Pictures with people's faces on, I want apart. So that's what I'm working on here, just kind of laying them out how I like them. And then I'm going to ink around the edges of all the pictures. I believe for mats, I used a mud looking paper from the Otterly Adorable. And then I used some peach paper from Otterly Adorable. And I also used one other sheet. I'm not sure which paper that was. Oh, yes, I do remember. It is a wood grain, kind of one of those rusticy looking wood grains from the Country Woods collection. These photos are all 3x4 portrait, and that includes their trim or their mat behind them. I love this layout format because it gives you kind of a frame style layout without using so much paper, but it also gives you a lot of room for embellishing, even though you have tons of pictures on the page. So, and I love a 3x4 photo format. It is just kind of my favorite size because it's big enough to see, but it's also small enough that you can fit a lot more photos on your page than you can with a 4x6. And honestly, the only reason we have 4x6 photos is because that's what photos traditionally were printed at, but there's no reason we need to have 4x6 photos now. And in fact, I would say when your cell phone takes a picture, the format that they're in fits a 3x4 better than a 4x6. I found this sheet of paper in the sale bin at this retreat I'm at. They have a store on site here. A lady brings all of her goodies. And so I thought it really went well with the roadmap, and we were on this road trip. So I am going to add it in behind to the top and bottom here, so that it looks like there's kind of a map peeking out from behind these photos. So I wanted to bring out this photo of the four of us a little bit. So I'm going to double mat that one. And I'm going to use Harbor paper, but I also want to put a second mat on it. And that's one way that you can use a busier paper. I'm going to put a second mat of that little spots or stone paper, and just to show a tiny little bit of it. And I also wanted to distress this. That's what's fun with the white core paper that Stampin' Up! Is now coming out with. That was our Close to My Heart cardstock. I just glue a sanding disc to one of my old little sponges for these sanding tools, and I use that to kind of sand off some of that color so that you see the white core peeking through. So I want to add a little bit more of this map paper to the bottom, and then I decide to add it also on the front or the start, and I just have to cover up the spots where it's patched together with photos or embellishments. I do not add any to the the other end, because I'm allowing the photos to kind of hang off the matting. So here is another place that I'm going to add in that busy paper. I'm going to add just a tiny bit to the end here. You'll see that right away. So I have some here, and I just wanted to find a place I could put it. And I'm not sure if it ends up there. I think I do show this much of it, but I show it along the top instead. So really the solve for using really busy papers is very simple. You just don't use very much. You use very small amounts. I felt that I needed some kind of interest, and all the lines were going horizontally, so I wanted a vertical line. So I'm going to add this wood grain, and I'm going to flag at the bottom and add it kind of in behind, drawing a little bit more attention to our picture and the title. And those Fort Bragg, the word Fort Bragg there, and later on I do add Glass Beach as well, is some rub-ons that I have from my stash. I'm also using this really old road trip stamp set for embellishing. While I start this embellishment process, I'll tell you a little about Fort Bragg, California. You're gonna see things go a little willy-nilly here for a minute. It's because I'm at a retreat, and when I go to ink up my stamp there, my camera goes askew, so that's why things are going a little funny there. Back to Fort Bragg, many years ago, they would throw their garbage in the ocean. So this happened in Fort Bragg for, I think, 50 years, 60 years. I think they finally stopped doing it in the 1960s. And it might have been more than that even, I'm not sure. But because they threw their garbage in the ocean, there was a lot of glass. And you can even see there's a car axle in one of the pictures. The metal becomes like a rusted gloop of metal. It's very weird. If you look close at the pictures, you can see that. And so the glass breaks, and the way that the cove is there, it just rolls around in the bottom of the ocean and then gets pushed back up onto the beach. And there's just thousands of pieces of sea glass that looks like diamonds when it's wet. And they're just rolled into like little round balls. Or their edges are all rubbed smooth, and it's very interesting. I had seen it on social media and other places, so I really wanted to go check it out, and so that is what we did here. We went and stayed here for the night, and we got there late in the evening, so we watched the sunset there, and we had our phones out and we're looking at this glass, but we went back in the morning so we could look some more and see what was all there. But you can just see the sea life and the sea urchins growing among this garbage that's big metal globs. I don't know how else to describe it. It's quite interesting. So this was one of the stops along our road trip along the west coast of the US, and we really enjoyed stopping here. It's just a really fascinating place. Another thing we did here is we got here a little bit late, and we went straight to the glass beach so we could see it in the daylight, and then we were starving, so we headed over to a fish and chips place right on the water. You can see that in some of the photos as well, and there was I would say a border collie or blue heeler looking dog there that loved fetch, and when you walked up, he would bring you his toy and expect you to fetch. And you can see in the picture there that I threw it for him a few times, and then I stopped, and he was standing with his head between my legs trying to get me to throw it again. So we thought that was pretty cute. We have a picture of that as well. All right, as you can see, I'm adding in a few more harbor touches of embellishments, and I've done a bunch of stamping on the background. And I did that, I think, with just charcoal. And I've added a few more touches of that stone, that busy stone paper. I really wanted to make that Journey license plate work. That was from the stamp set, the road trip stamp set that came out through Stampin' Up, even though it was a close to my heart stamp set. But I'll just have to use it on another layout because it wasn't working for me here. I do end up using the other little title that I had stamped from, I believe the stamp set I was using earlier was from a paper pack called Cruisin', and it must have been like 10 years ago with Close to My Heart. These journaling strips are also that pinky map paper in the background, the one that I bought at the retreat. So I've just cut some strips here, and I'm gonna write the little story on these strips. It's so interesting to me that sometimes you have a really busy layout and you hate it, or hate, that's strong words, but you don't like it as much. And then sometimes, like this layout, you have a really busy layout and I really like how it looks. And I think part of the reason I like it so much is because of that big frame around the outside that gives your eye a rest. I also think that the color palette is quite limited, and the pictures are all within that range of color for the most part as well. That really helps it to not feel so crazy busy. I finally gave up on that Enjoy the Journey license plate and realized that this little title fits. It nestles so nicely in with that picture of my husband and I, and so that's what I decided to go with. I hope you enjoyed watching this video come together. I've slowed down this close up here so you can get a look at the pictures too of us looking in the evening with our phones at the beach and the restaurant there. If you enjoyed watching this layout come together, I'd love it if you hit that thumbs up button for me and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And I'll post a video at the end of this one and a playlist that you might like if you liked this video. There's that axle on the far right, the axle of the car. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you all next time here on YouTube. Bye.